Hello there, how is it going? Welcome to the video series on ReactJS, and in this particular video we will talk about what are properties of React component. So React components are the building block of React UI and that can be enhanced with properties. So let's see what are properties and how we can use it. So when we create a React app, we use a library called React DOM and it has a function called render which is used for rendering all the React components, and React components are rendered into a 2D space which may look something like this, where we will have simple components as well as composite components. Now with respect to properties, each component can have 0 or more properties, and properties can be provided only during the creation of the component. And here is the syntax of providing properties with the component. We use name value pair to provide properties in a component, just like as it is being displayed over here. React properties can be provided to both class component as well as functional component. The only thing which we need to remember is that once a component is constructed, we can't add or remove properties. It's not dynamic in nature. We provide while creation of the component. Now let's see properties in action. Here is my React DOM.render function in which I am using a component called myApp and I am providing a property called name with a value called ABC. This is the name value pair I create to provide a property in component. If you consider from JavaScript perspective, a property can be represented as a JavaScript object similar to what is being depicted over here right now. Now let's talk about how we handle properties in functional component as well as in class component. Let's first talk about functional component. Here is my code of the functional component where I have created a functional component using arrow function of ES6. What I'm trying to do over here is that I take properties as a function argument and then using the properties just like JavaScript object. So in here I am giving name is props.name. If we want to have the value of property, we need to use JSX syntax where it needs to be enclosed inside the curly braces. Now let's look into the class component. Here is how my class component looks like. In the render function, I am using name is as this.props.name. This means that we don't have to receive properties explicitly. It is available as part of the class this.props. So here is what we need to remember. When we use functional component, we need to pass properties as a functional parameter, and in class component, props are available as a class member and can be accessed as this.props. One thing to remember in case of functional component that it need not to be named as props. I mean, props is not a keyword. You can name it anything you want. You can name ABC or anything you want. However, there is a valid reason to name it props, because inside your code, when you use this particular props, it is easy to identify that it came as part of properties. So you can differentiate properties variable from other variables. And that's the reason it's a good idea to name it as props. Now let's talk about how we can handle multiple properties. Here is a simple code where I am passing two properties, name and age. Now you can see that I am passing two name value pair, but there is one difference. In the age, I am passing the number inside a curly brace. This is a JSX syntax, which means that if you are passing anything other than the string, you need to enclose it inside the JSX curly braces, whether it is a number, object, or anything like that. So this is the way I am passing the properties. Again, from the perspective of JavaScript, it can be represented as a JavaScript object which has two values, name and age. Now let's go back and see how we can handle this in both functional component and in class component. This is how my functional component will look like. I am taking the property as props in function parameter and I am using props.name and props.age wherever required. Now let's come back and see how we can handle it inside class component. Here is my class component, and in the render function I am using this.props.name and this.props.age. Okay, in the class component the properties are automatically available as this.props. Now This syntax works, but there are specific shortcuts which we can use in ES6, especially in case of functional component. Let's see ES6 syntax first. We can use some variable creation method in my app where I'll be using const name age equal to props. In this particular case, what will happen that name will be assigned to props.name, age will be assigned to props.age, and I can use name and age in my return function. This actually prevents writing props dot again and again. So that's the shortcut. There is another shortcut in functional component. What we can do is that we can take the name and age inside the function parameter itself, so that we don't have to write this additional line where we have written const name age equal to props, and rest of the usage will be same. Now let's go back and see the shortcut in class component. Here is how my class component will look like, and I will use the same syntax of using const name age equal to this dot props. Once I do that, I can use name and age variable as it is. So this is all about React.js component properties. Thanks a lot guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any queries or comments, please write it in the comment section. Please take a moment to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you. Thanks a lot.